Thank you for tuning in to the very first episode of Northbounder. I really do appreciate you tuning in and checking it out. My goal for Northbounder, it's something completely different. There's not any media quite like this that deals with a small region like the Northland. And my goal is to tell the stories and the history and talk to the people that live right in our own backyard. The very first story that was shot this evening is about 3 guys that own a store called Samsara Vintage Home. You know, as great as the stuff that they sell and the work that they do, they're incredible people. And they come from a very different background than most of us do here in the Northland. They come from a war-torn country in Central America. And I just really enjoyed not just their business, but the people that they are. So check it out. I hope you enjoy it. I know you'll enjoy it. And here's Alex and Mike and Carlos and Samsara Vintage Home.
Samsara actually is a Tibetan word, and it essentially means the continuation or the flow of things. Here at Samsara Vintage Store, what we offer is mainly flooring projects. You know, we do anything from hardwood floors, refinish them. We do any sort of tile work, indoor, outdoor. We do carpeting. We handle area rugs, mostly like Middle Eastern pieces, Afghanistan, Turkey. You know, very cool rug selections. We also focus on unique furniture pieces. Kind of have a very eclectic mix of home decor, furniture pieces. And we also do, you know, kitchen remodels. We do bathrooms. We do backsplashes. So Samsara really has a diverse mix of different items. Even though our core business is flooring, we didn't want to look like just a flooring shop. So we tried to, you know, incorporate other items that just make it interesting for customers. And that's exactly the feedback we get.
We are from the coast. El Salvador is a teeny tiny little country in front of the Pacific Ocean, and then only at the time we were growing up, it was only about 5 million people. Maybe there's a couple more millions now. Towards the late 70s and early 80s, it was actually a horrible civil war in El Salvador, so it was a very tough time for everybody. Unfortunately, I mean, like a war doesn't see color, doesn't see sex, doesn't see age, doesn't see religion. Everybody were in the same boat, basically. Everybody were fighting for their life. You know, I mean, when growing up in a place that you see so much violence, and then when you were a child, and then I remembered, I mean, stories about like when I couldn't even sleep. I was like about 8 years old, and then I was sleeping right next to my mother's bed because she had to pull out like a little tiny bed right next to hers. Hearing like either the army of my country or the guerrillas, I mean, being outside of our bedrooms, window, I mean, cleaning their guns and all that, and I was just shaking like crazy. I remember being in those moments, and I just want to get up and cover my mom actually mouth because I didn't want her, I didn't want them to you know, hearing that she was breathing, because if they would actually find out that somebody was inside of like the house, they were gonna come and knock on our door. So it was so much fear. It was growing up as a child. We wanted to escape. I mean, I wanted to go ahead and just go to a different place and just start over again. And then my cousin and I, we were growing up in different cities. And then one day I just, we started talking about like I'm moving to a different place. I mean, and then he said, where do you want to go? And I said, well, let's go to the States. It happened to be like the person that we were working with, he was original from Kansas City. He wanted to come back. And then he told us, hey, you want to move to the Midwest? So the first time I heard the term Midwest, I thought somebody was talking about the Middle East, and I said, I don't think so. I think I'm fine right here. When we wanted to start over, we want to go ahead and find a place that it was simple, and it was like, you know, a place that it was charming, a place that is like, you know, that it was not too pretentious or anything like that. The people that are like more down to earth. And then we were looking for different places around Kansas City, and then we came across Parkville, and then there's so much history in this town. I mean, like there's histories about like, you know, I mean, people coming from nowhere and they want to go ahead and start a new life, and that's exactly what we were looking for. I mean, start a new life, a new beginning. Carlos, I mean, he had a really hard time, I mean, describing himself, and I think because it's exactly how we talk. I mean, because I mean, where you're creative, I mean, you don't want to see your qualities a lot. I think he have a great eye for beauty. I mean, we almost are actually being touched by tragedy in one point of our life, and then some people convert those moments in something beautiful. And I think my cousin Carlos, I mean, he always had a great eye for beauty, and then he wanna go ahead and he knows how to transform or how to pull it out, that beauty out of that ugly piece.
Well, it started, you know, probably about 10 years ago when I developed this, let's say like a hobby, doing for the house, for my house, and then we started to do sales, just garage sales in the house, and I did a few pieces for, you know, for resale, and people start to tell me like, why you don't do something like that for a living? Are you doing a beautiful work? So might as well take advantage of your talent. So that's what I start to, you know, get these kind of ideas and bring it to the public. A piece of furniture that somebody probably saw there, it's just like maybe a trash, or it was not probably be used anymore, so I love to transform something like that into a new life. I have a lot of experience into the handmade rugs, everything related with the flooring. Actually, you know, sometimes I get a little emotional because, you know, anytime that I do a piece of furniture, I really put my heart into. My hand is just like, you know, I feel that, you know, that piece, it will be pretty much in somebody's home that is gonna love the way that I was doing the work for. I always been, you know, looking for the interaction between the customer and the public. To me, it is my best friend. You know, when I established the relationship with the customer, we not only became customer, we became friends and so close. I believe in the American dream, and this is something that you see, you know, we came here only with $1,000. It's no money that was cost to us, it was mother's money. And we decided to stay and, you know, just trying the American dream. And then I think to me, this is it, you know, because we made it through.
Some great guys at Samsara. Be sure to look them up on Facebook, like them on their Facebook page, check out what they're doing and all the work that they're working on. Like I said, not only is it great business, it's great people. And, you know, go in there, talk to Alex, and leave a few hours later with just a smile on your face. Most of this episode of Northbounder was actually planned at Morning Day Cafe on the square in Liberty over great coffee, great conversation, and so one of the things that I knew I wanted to do, especially in the first few episodes of Northbounder, was take you to some of my favorite places in the Northland. And here's Morning Day Cafe.
My son's nickname, his name's Aiden, we call him 80 for short. He came up with the name of Morning Day Cafe. He would wake up in the morning and just, you know, a child's wonder and delight with a new day would be an exclamation rather of, it's morning day, it's morning day, it's a new day, or is it morning day yet? When my daughter was 4 and 5 years old, I'd bring her to the restaurant that I managed before she started school, and she'd wear the really long shirt and she'd wear the apron and she'd help me greet tables, and it was really cute. She'd draw pictures of the food and she just absolutely loved it. We'd cook together, and it was just really something that I wanted to do, was have my own restaurant. The first thing I did was quit my job, which was terrifying because I didn't know where my next paycheck would come from. Getting the doors open for this business was my first miracle. Well, anybody that's familiar with Liberty knows that there's a certain risk that is involved with trying to open a restaurant on the square. I'm a gardener and I'm a cook. And when I saw this space and I saw the courtyard I had out back, my vision changed. It really wasn't what I wanted to start with, because I wanted to start so much bigger and so much more grand with a huge sea of stainless steel that I could use to make culinary visions on. But when I saw this space, I thought it needed coffee. There are other places that have coffee and they do great at it. I'm unique in the fact that I wanted to serve organic, fair trade, not only coffee, but all of my food. Knowing that I'm able to serve my customers food that I believe is wholesome will enrich their bodies in an environment that will enrich their souls. I think that in so many restaurants, kids and parents alike feel that their kids need to be still and be quiet and be well behaved and mannered, and that's just not in kids' nature. I have a lending library for kids. It's a free lending library. They can come, they can pick one book, they can pick 10 books, they can take them with them, they can bring them back, they don't have to. We get constant donations of books. We have a chalkboard behind our free lending library so kids can be creative and can create art that will stay there all day long for others to enjoy. So my favorite is our Mexican mocha. Double shot of espresso, couple pumps of that wonderful dark chocolate, and then our house-made cinnamon syrup topped with your choice of milk. And then we've got all the alternative milks. We want to make sure that we're also taking care of those people that have allergies and diet restrictions. So we have rice milk, and we have almond milk, we have coconut milk, we have soy milk. So I mean, really that can be served to fit any diet, but that is by far my favorite. Our lunch menu consists mostly of sandwiches and salads, which we rotate to what is seasonal and what is fresh. On our menu right now, my favorite sandwich for the lunch menu is the boxer sandwich. And it has chicken, it has onions, it has peppers, it has pepper jack cheese, and more of that avocado, which I totally love, and sriracha, which makes it hot, feisty, and messy, and it's a perfect boxer all wrapped up in a tolera roll. Morning Day Cafe is open 6 to 4, 8 days a week, but Wednesday through Saturday, we reopen as Night Bites. It's a very shareable experience, so you bring 2 or 3 of your friends in, you get a couple antipasta platters, or you get an antipasta platter and a fondue, and you sit and drink craft martinis and cocktails. And it's an experience where you get to stay, you don't have to shout above the music, it's not a meat market atmosphere. It's just a really fun place to come and spend time with your friends. We give 100% of our tips for Morning Day Cafe to a different charity. At the end of the month, we have a huge party, and this is so much fun. I have yet to collect a paycheck, which I probably won't for another year, but this for me is my heart song. And that falls on the last Saturday of every month. We call it our Arts Jam, and the artist will come out and they'll talk about their works. The charity will come out and talk about what they do within the community, and then we'll have a local band come out and play. It's really just a great community experience, and I feel really blessed to be involved in it. In 2014, even though we just started in July, we gave almost $6,000 to charity. And if we continue to exist, and I believe we will, because I've learned, if nothing else, I've learned faith. If we continue to exist, we'll be able to continue to spread that good. My name's Miranda Barchers. I am with Morning Day Cafe. I am the owner, general manager, and plumber, dishwasher extraordinaire, among many other things.
From the moment you enter the drive, you'll know that McCrite Plaza is a unique community. Not only have we designed a gracious atmosphere, but we've created an environment for peace of mind. Hello, I'm Cassidy McCrite. On behalf of the entire McCrite family, we invite you to come and see what great living is all about. Call us today, 816-888-7930.
Welcome back to Northbounder. One thing that I mentioned in the beginning that I wanted to make sure that I did was to document the history of the Northland. I'm so excited for for the history pieces that we're going to be telling over the next few months. We've got some great stories that even growing up in the Northland, I just was unaware. This story is almost 75 years in the making. It dates all the way back to 1933, where Gale Stockwell, a local Northland painter, actually sold one of his paintings to the United States government during the Depression. And it's a great story, and check it out.
In early 1934, the United States was near the depths of the most trying economic times in its history. Unemployment was close to 25%, and the Federal Emergency Relief Act began to put a few dollars into the pockets of hungry workers. Shortly thereafter, a question arose whether to include artists among those beneficiaries. I too have a dream, to show people in the out-of-way places, some of whom are not only in small villages, but in corners of New York City, something they cannot get from between the covers of books, some real paintings and prints and etchings, and some real music. Franklin Roosevelt. And thus was born the Public Works of Art Project, which in the first 4 months of 1934 hired more than 3,500 artists and produced more than 15,000 paintings, murals, and sculptures for government buildings around the country. The Public Works of Art Project paid out a total of $1,184,000. Artists were recruited through newspaper ads placed around the country. The whole program was up and running in just a couple weeks. People lined up in the cold outside government offices to apply. The only guidance the government offered about subject matter was that the, quote, American scene would be a suitable topic. One of those artists was Northland's own Gale Stockwell. He sold his painting of Main Street, Parkville, to the Public Works of Art Project for $30. And for 40 years, any news of the painting would not be forthcoming. In 1971, the artist was shown something quite extraordinary. One of his art students handed him a jigsaw puzzle that was of the painting he had done in 1933. The puzzle was purchased in a gift shop in Canada, and on the cover of the box it read, "From the National Collection of Fine Arts of the Smithsonian Institute, Washington, D.C." While investigating further, Mr. Stockwell found out it was presently hanging in the press secretary's office of Richard Nixon's White House. Once word of this rediscovery rang out, Parkville residents began working on bringing the painting back, and on May 17, 1973, the painting arrived back home in Parkville, Missouri. To celebrate the homecoming of Stockwell's painting, Parkville and Park College held a festival, including a parade with Gale Stockwell as Grand Marshal. Parkville Mayor Bill Lotta proclaimed June 16, 1973 as Main Street Parkville Day, beginning a tradition still carried on today known as Parkville Days. With consent of the Smithsonian, the Parkville Frame Gallery has been granted permission to release a limited number of prints. Gale Stockwell's Main Street Parkville painting can now be purchased at the Parkville Frame Gallery or ordered through Northbounder in an effort to continue the rich history of both the Northland and the arts.
It's amazing to me that even a painting can have a story. And that's why art is so important, and it's important to me and should be important to our community. If you want a print of Gale Stockwell's Parkville Main Street painting. They're actually available now to buy. There's a limited number of quantities. You can go to the Parkville Frame Gallery to purchase a print, or if you're out of town, you can always purchase one through Northbounder on the Northbounder site in our shop. So we appreciate that. The next story, just to keep the art thing going, is an amazing, talented Northland artist named Julie Hansen.
I started painting when I was very young. It's what I've always loved and what I've always wanted to do. My style is more abstract. I don't like to get caught up in the details. I want people to feel when they are looking at one of my pieces like they are right out there in the prairie, that they can smell it and they can feel it, they can see the beautiful skies. We are so lucky where we live. The landscape is so beautiful, very simple, but it's a breathtaking beauty. And I feel like it begs to be painted, and I try to do my best to give it that emotion, that feeling of awe. I work in pastels because I love the medium. I love the pure color. It's velvety, it's rich. You can just get a very intense color palette with pastels. I also like the fact that I've always been a painter but also a drawer, and I love that with pastels you can paint and draw at the same time with it. I like to get messy, so I love using my hands and working with the sides of my hands, my fingers. I love the tactile quality of it. It's forgiving. If there's something that I don't like, I'll wash it out with a rag, I will wipe it down, and I will start all over. I like to layer my work so that it gives depth. I always start with the darker tones and then move to lights. I like the depth that provides. I don't want to be painting from my head. I want to be painting from my heart. I want it to be something that is uplifting, not just for me, but for others. There's so much in this world that's negative. There are so many negative things that we can dwell upon. And if I can produce something that commands someone's attention and it makes them feel good, then I love that.
Thanks for tuning in to the very first episode of Northbounder. We're really excited about the days, weeks, months, years, decades ahead, and the stories that we can tell about the Northland. Be sure to not miss an episode and sign up at www.northbounderkc.com. And if you're interested in advertising, you can reach us there. Or if you have a great story to tell, it's another great place to reach us. So until the 15th, I'll see you in the Northland.